All right, man. Let's talk, man. Michigan got a win over Nebraska. Yesterday I watched majority like the whole game, and um, it actually was a good football game. You know, at the end of the day, starting to open it up a little bit for Bryce Young. They've been having an interim coach who's been very funny. And Dominic Raiola, excuse me, he been for the most part doing his thing. I think next year will probably be the year for him. Uh, but it was an entertaining game. I must say. I think in Michigan they made some mistakes at the end of the half with the Hail Mary and a couple blown coverages, and but it's college football. Windows are wider. Talent level ain't as elite as the NFL, but I feel like Michigan should have won this game a lot more comfortable than 3 points. I don't know if Vegas was working, but it was a couple throws that they could have got a touchdown on one drive, and they ended up with a field goal. One was a like somewhat of a lateral, and then I think Samaj Morgan, he was throwing it, and the guy was wide open. He underthrew him for a touchdown, and then a couple of plays later, Bryce Underwood threw a dime to the receiver, and he couldn't catch the ball and track it in. Really, the 7 at the end of the half, that shouldn't have been. I think Bryce Young fumbled. That shouldn't have been. That shit like that happened. But the 2 missed touchdowns, the fail Mary at the end of the half, and Michigan got a receiver problem. That is something that probably needs to be brought up. Michigan has a receiver problem. Michigan needs to go out there and find receivers. Whether it's the transfer portal, you need to see what Ohio State, LSU is doing. They're out there moving mountains, and they're out there finding receivers. That's helping them. And right now, Michigan just don't have the receivers. Since the Harbaugh era started, at some point we used to have, David Tyrell. You had Amani Tumors, or whichever one played for the Giants. I'll be forgetting one of them. I mean, you had your Mario Manningham. Really, it ain't really been a receiver, for a minute coming into the Michigan program that deserved to wear number one. So that's been a whole hot topic. That's the next thing they need to go out there do and find receivers. Because right now, I think with some clamoring for them to go out there and play some of the younger receivers. And yeah, you might as well. They ain't gonna throw the ball that much. At least they can get some type of repetition. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they don't have the receivers. Nebraska, they had the one guy, he heated up. What's the brother's name? Emmett Johnson. Not Emmett Johnson. Ja'Cory Barney. They need a couple elite, at least one elite receiver. Too many times it's been the Devin Funches. It's been the tight end, the Loveland. It's been the tight end. So Michigan is lacking at the receiver position. You're gonna spend all that money at the quarterback position, and he's out there throwing dimes. And maybe that's one of the other reasons why they continue to protect him with conservative play calling, because they don't fucking have the receivers, and they don't know how to go out there and get the receivers. Or maybe we at the point where they just want to call an old school type of football game, and they don't really want the receivers. Yeah, you had a Roman Wilson before y'all, but they really wasn't elite receivers. Let's keep it real. They really wasn't elite receivers. And that's become an issue for Michigan, is not having those elite receivers. So, at the end of the day, they style and match. And at some point, yeah, you can still, play a hard-nosed brand of football if you have to play Ohio State and have to run over them, but still, you still need those those explosive receivers. So that's why it was so hard for them to get a Cam Ward to come here. It was so hard to get certain guys to come into the University of Michigan, because their offense is old school. It's ball control. You can still kind of do ball control, but still have an explosive offense. We seen Ben Johnson, for the most part, do it for the last few years. It's times where the Lions would just control the ball, and then they would get explosive plays off the run game, off the short passing game. So at some point, I get it. The Lindsey guy, he's trying to protect. he's trying to protect, um, Bryce Underwood, but I get it. I get it more than anybody. They got to go out there and get him some help on the outside. And receivers like guards in NCAA tournament, they everywhere, but they seem to be everywhere but at the University of Michigan. So that's the next step. They want to start to get more high profile quarterbacks and not have to pay him all that fucking money to come here. You have to surround him with the weaponry. So they have to go out there and they have to get dudes, have to get the weaponry. So they have to get the weaponry. So hopefully they figure that out. And I think that's the issue. And he showed off with his legs. I mean, the running backs are amazing, but Justice Hayes and Jordan Marshall and you got to go out there and be more. They can be more amazing. They can be even just as amazing without as much volume as 17 carries. They can be very amazing if they learn how to modernize their offense. Going back to that one guy they had, Gaddis, he was trash. Didn't he face penalty in Miami or something for doing something? It's getting to the point hey man, but it was a good game. Most college football teams are not equipped to handle the physicality of Michigan. I said it again. Most college football teams are not equipped to handle the physicality of that old school Michigan football team. But also it come a point because if you get down, you need your quarterback to be able to throw it. And it's great. This is great for Bryce Underwood year one. He's not asked to do too much. And unfortunately, the Julian Newman kid in Colorado, he doesn't have the luxury. He doesn't have the luxury that Bryce Underwood has. That's just say, the protection of the offensive line, you know what I'm saying? The running backs and, Colorado is still an up and coming program. But it was a good game. So at some point, hopefully Michigan is able to modernize and that's the difference, but also you look at it, a lot of that has held a lot of the Ohio State quarterbacks back. A lot of it has held the Ohio State quarterbacks back. Look at CJ Stroud. Now he's in the NFL and look like he had a good start. When you give them the best of everything, the best receivers, the best line, the best coaching, the best defense, it comes with a price. You get to the league and you get drafted high. You know what I'm saying? You don't get that. You don't get that luxury. So it is what it is, man. Appreciate y'all. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live or drop video. I appreciate y'all for supporting the channel. Check out the College Sports Talk playlist for more videos like this. Peace.